saying it's starting recording,
Mm-hmm.
but I don't know if it's actually.
Recording.
Yeah. Okay, we're recording.
All right. Can you still hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
All right, perfect.
So this is take 2 of our intro of our first episode of two brothers or two unrelated brothers, I should say.
Unrelated brothers.
Yes, two best friends who discuss video games, movies, and other, I guess, light subjects. We were actually in the middle of introducing ourselves. Jacob, you want to go again?
Well, I am Jacob. I am a 27-year-old child, and I'm just doing my best to keep my sanity during this pandemic. I miss my best friend, who I am talking to right now, and man, many tastes. Love video games, obviously. Comics, wrestling, even sports. You name it. Just whatever I can sink my attention into, I will get invested in.
All right, and my name is Jerry. Uh, basically wanted to start this podcast. It was actually Jacob's idea, but so we could basically talk to each other. I mean, it's kind of rough living an adult life.
Mm-hmm.
Especially in the pandemic and the random storms and whatnot that are happening here. Um, but I'm into video games. I love movies, mostly horror movies. I think I'm a big like horror movie person, whether it's ghosts or zombies or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And then as far as video games go, I mean, I have anywhere from a Super Nintendo to a PS5 in my house, and a PC. I have all kinds of genres. I think the one that I'm really like I was telling you earlier, not that invested in is like driving sims maybe.
Yeah. No, I mean, yeah, I think. Well, let's just jump right into it. If you're still hanging with us, God bless you over this sloppy intro. But I mean, we just love games. I mean, speaking for myself, obviously got a PC. I've got Steam, trying to get all the classic games on there. I got a PS4. Pretty much, I got all the PlayStations from 1 to 4. So I mean, I guess not all of them. You have all of them. I don't have any Xboxes, but getting a GameCube soon. Do want to get an Xbox eventually. Have a Switch. I don't have any Nintendo things really. Like not the classics. I was a Sega boy growing up.
Yeah, I mean, as far as the classics go, I have a Super Nintendo. I used to have a Nintendo 64, but that disappeared. I have a PS2, and I don't know if this is really considered a classic. I mean, I think it's almost there, but an Xbox 360 and PS3. I mean, it's
Yeah,
been less than 20 years. But
it's in a weird phase where it's not classic, but I think it's retro.
yeah, I mean, it's definitely a different time than it is now.
No, yeah, I mean you just play any PS3 game and you kind of look at it and go, oh shit, this is completely different than what I'm used to now.
And I think that genre, there's a lot of games created that are now like staples. Like Gears of War.
Mm-hmm.
That's like a big one. And I know Halo was kind of started on the first Xbox, but really I think took off. With Halo 3 and
Mm-hmm.
online and all that stuff. I mean, I'm not too much of an Xbox person, so I'm not
Mm-hmm.
really sure exactly. Now that I'm kind of an adult and have a little
Yeah,
bit of.
kind of an adult. We're pushing 30.
I know, Jesus. Why do you gotta say it like that?
Oh God, believe me. I guess kind of give a timeline too. I guess of our video game history. Since we're the same age, we primarily grew up. First video game memories would probably be the Sega Genesis or the N64. Then that jumps into the PS1, then the PS2, the PS3. So we've kind of seen like a crazy transition through the games. I mean, obviously, anyone older than us, then they got like Atari and shit like that. But we're kind of able to see like the beginnings of the home console, and now pushing into like basically crazy online games.
Yeah, for sure. I guess my history, like I was saying, was the Super Nintendo. Uh, I didn't have the original NES,
Mhm.
but one of my first memories is like playing Donkey Kong with my stepdad, and Turtles in Time with my mom. I know, my mom doesn't seem like much of a gamer, but Nintendo, yeah, we played that. Super Mario Bros. I mean, we played the hell out of that.
Mhm.
And then even Nintendo 64, that's kind of when my little brother came into the picture, and we
Mhm.
being an asshole of a bigger brother, I
Yeah.
played with him sometimes, but not, but not all the time. And then
No, yeah, I feel his pain.
yeah, I know you're the little brother, and
I'm the
I'm,
little brother, yes.
yeah. Uh, shit, and then PS2, man, that was really like the golden era. I think we were both at an age where it's like you just had no care, so we could just
Yeah,
sit around and play all day.
okay. So I'm glad you said the specific words. Your first memories. So you said your first memories were like the N64. Like that's where like
Well, the Super
maybe like
Nintendo.
your Super Nintendo. Okay, that's like kind of like where your the love blossomed for you.
Yeah, yeah, it was. I mean, and it was such a different world.
Hmm.
Like, I remember playing Aladdin, and I, as an adult, of course, you're playing Call of Duty or whatever, and you're like cussing and this and that. Well, I was like little, riding a magic carpet on Aladdin, like cussing. Like my mom told me she was walking past my room and she heard me like calling I don't know, whatever the little enemies were, pussies. I was like, why? And I knew it was a bad word, but I didn't know exactly what it meant. And she just kind of walked by because my stepdad had been telling her like, hey, he cusses and he does this and that. And she didn't want to believe it. I'm like a little kid. I'm her
Yeah.
baby. And yeah, she told me she remembered the first time it like a little piece of her like kind of died. She's like, oh no, he's not this little angel.
That's fantastic.
And
That's
that's
amazing.
Aladdin, dude. I mean,
That's
imagine
oh,
if we were five playing Call of Duty Modern Warfare, like, which of
Jesus
course I don't think any
Christ.
5-year-olds should, but they're
I know what you mean.
sometimes it sounds like
Yeah.
some are, you know?
Oh my God, that's amazing. No, yeah, I think mine would be I was pretty fortunate. My first memories of playing a game would be Sonic, uh, specifically. I mean, obviously the first level, Green Hill Zone. I remember specifically that music and everything. And just I mean, I just loved it. Me whether it was me watching or actually playing it, that was one of the best things to me. It was just so colorful and fun, and that's like the perfect one of the perfect video games to like be introduced to.
Yeah, I think so because I think especially for somebody younger, it's like a perfect.
Mhm.
It's not necessarily. I mean, it can get hard, but it's not too hard, and
Yeah,
it's colorful and bright, and the music's like real that old school arcadey
yeah.
noise. Um, yeah,
It's
I mean,
I think that perfectly encapsulates the easy to pick up but difficult to master genre of video games. Like you can totally like skip out on a bunch of the level and stuff and beat it, but if you want to like really do all these crazy things, find the secrets and stuff, that does take like a lot of skill and like a lot of replaying the same level over and over to like find all the tricks and stuff.
see, and I didn't really have an Atari. I mean, I knew some kids that did, so I never
Hmm.
really played too much with Sonic and whatnot.
Hmm.
Um,
Sega, how dare you?
the Sega, yes. So
Can't we got
mine,
we gotta keep our credibility here. We gotta know what we're talking about.
but yeah. So I mean, for me it was a little different. I would say like Super Mario Brothers and Donkey Kong, and I even
Hmm.
had that Terminator 2 shooter that you would find at the old arcades.
Oh wow.
Uh, yeah, I remember playing that. Total Carnage. There's a lot of like movies that were making video games too that were
Oh
halfway
yeah.
decent. Like Aladdin was pretty good. The Jurassic Park was pretty good. And I even had the Lion King game that was famously unfinished. You can't get past this like emu game. And as a little kid, I was like, man, this is just really really tough. And then come to find out, all these videos about games
Yeah.
that are unfinished and sold and this and that. I saw a video and it's like, yeah, it's just broken there. So
You feel vindicated. Like I wasn't shitty. It was the damn developers.
yes, and Mega Man X too. That's another big one that
Oh
was crazy.
yeah. Yeah, I've heard about that one a lot. Oh yeah, when like for me, since like I said, we were Sega and we were poor, so it's not like we could have like all these consoles. Yeah, we had to go over to my cousins to play Nintendo because they had the N64, and that's how I. Another thing I love too, though, was like seeing obviously Super Mario 64. My God, like I remember playing much, but I just absolutely loved that game. It was amazing. That's another one of those like if you see that when you're little, like you're hooked.
Yeah, I agree, and I remember seeing it like as a child. That and that Golden Eye, that
Oh my God, yes.
looking back at it, just looks like kind of shitty, right? Like I remember
Right.
thinking the sniper rifle was. I didn't, I was young. I didn't know what a sniper rifle was. I thought it was like a Nerf gun or something. I was like, man, what's this
Yeah.
gun with a telescope on it? Because like it just looked crazy. It looked weird, and but looking at it back then too, it's still like I don't know. It's got that aura about it. It's like.
Hmm. On that subject too, I think I'm incapable of handling that controller now. I don't think I can play an N64 if I tried.
That was such an odd controller, man. That
Like just
but then
looking at it, I'm trying to hold it. I'm like, how do I hold this? How did I hold it? What the fuck?
I think it really depends on what game you're playing, like whether or not you have to utilize that like
Hmm.
analog stick or whatever. But yeah, man, that controller. But Nintendo has like a history of like
Yeah,
weird controllers.
they like take acid before designing their controllers.
Dude, they do something because I mean they could just go with a normal route, but shit, I remember the Wii. The Wii was nuts.
Hmm.
God, it stuck with the PS2 graphics, but went with the crazy controller.
Yeah. So we're kind of like on the kind of going off the we've been off the rails, but we'll try to go back to I guess let's try to like get back on what our like you said the first memories see like but also to like I guess how that would go into our favorite games like what and like our tastes in games, like kind of like how if that's changed a lot over the years. Because like I said, Sonic's obviously not now it is in a weird way. It's not story really heavy. It's just go fast through a level with some cool music and cool bosses, and that's it. Whereas now it's like I don't really care about that now. I love story based games. I know you do too. And for me, a big part of that, and this also goes into like pretty much my favorite series and games ever, is watching my brother play the Metal Gear Solid game, the first one. Like, Sonic was the perfect intro into me just gaming overall, but as far as like falling in love and like just being addicted to something and like just being like I need to see this more, I need to play this more, I need to learn more about it, that's Metal Gear Solid for me.
Yeah, so first kind of story game I played that I can kind of remember that I still
Hmm.
love. Like I could play it right now. Is that PS1 Spider-Man game?
Really?
Yeah, I think I still remember the code for it. There's like a code for infinite health. I think
Wow.
it's Stanley, but it's backwards.
Mm.
I believe, if I'm not mistaken. So that would give you like infinite health and all the Spider-Man suits. That's why I really like the Insomniac Spider-Man series. But so that
Wow.
was like the first story game, and then I didn't have a PS1. I just stuck with the Nintendo 64.
Hmm.
Um, I had the South Park game and all that stuff, but and the Pokemon Stadium game that was really fun as a
Right.
kid. But as far as like really, the golden era of gaming for me was
Toby. Hmm.
was a PS2 for sure. Um, that was like when a lot of the, I mean, that's when I played. I think the most of the games. Like I remember, I probably shouldn't have, but like at a young age playing Grand Theft Auto 3,
Oh
and
yeah.
it's like this. I think I was like 6 or 7.
I,
Like I was like super young,
yeah,
and
you're definitely too young.
and my mom didn't know like that this was what it was about or whatever, but
Yeah.
she picked it up and she's like, well, I wouldn't say maybe, and I wouldn't say I was more mature than kids, but I definitely watched like a lot of stuff that was violent or bloody. Or like when I was little, we loved Mortal Kombat and the Blade series and all these scary movies. So I kind of knew like how to differentiate like
Right.
real life from like Like, I could play Grand Theft Auto without thinking that this is a normal way to live or whatever. But regardless, she sat down to like watch me play it. The first mission to determine, like, I guess to give her seal of approval or whatever. And the first mission I think was called Pump Action Pimp. And so
Oh,
you're
I remember
breaking.
that.
Yes, so you break out of the prison, and then you go to this gangster's house, and he opens the door in like a leather like dominatrix like gimp suit. My mom, it's so like I'm a kid. Like I'm just like, oh, this guy
Yeah,
crazy suits. So my mom's looking at it, and of course it's like real pixelated or like blocky. So she's
yeah,
like, I mean, I'm pretty sure she knew what was going on, but she didn't mention it to me. And then I
yeah,
kind of beat the mission, and like I heard cussing like before,
yeah.
actually quite often. So she just kind of, after the mission was done, she was just like, this is not real life. You should, this is like a game. This is just, something that you shouldn't be doing in real life, but have fun. You can have fun here. Like,
Oh wow, so she actually like talked to you?
yeah, she talked to me about it.
Wow.
Yeah, because I mean, that was her. I think that was really the last time she did that, really. But I mean, because I
Wow.
got so many games without her knowing from my
Yeah.
dad's. My dad would just buy whatever he had. Like he didn't care or whatever. He just buy me really whatever game. And so yeah, she talked to me about it, and that was kind of sparked my love for like video
Hmm.
games, right? For just being able to do whatever, whether you wanted to race or
Hmm.
know go on a spree with a tank and run over cars or whatever.
Yeah.
That's where it started for me, at least.
Mm. No, yeah, definitely. I think GTA 3 is like kind of like the holy grail for a lot of people. It's it's just a great game. Like I said, like Metal Gear Solid was like the first like what's it called? Mesmerize me, Jesus Jacob, and entrance me. But GTA was like a perfect just fuck around game. Like you said, just do whatever you want, and the world is yours.
Yeah, that's for sure. And it only got better with San Andreas.
Oh god, I remember the commercials for that so vividly. Like
Yes, I remember all that. And the
Welcome
hot
to the
coffee.
Jungle. Oh,
Yeah,
coffee, that thing. Oh my god.
yeah, hearing
It's
that.
a funny luck too, because nowadays I feel like that would like not make headlines at all, but at the time it's like, Jesus Christ, what is this? This is savagery.
Yes, yes. At the time, it was definitely a different world because I think, I mean, even now, I think because like I my coworkers, I work with a lot of older people, and and they kind of talk crap whenever I tell them like, oh yeah, I like video games. They're like, oh, I
Mhm.
remember when I was a kid, and like just giving me a hard time, and it's
So
like,
stupid.
no, this is like something I think I'm gonna do for like
Mhm.
as long as I'm able to.
Yeah,
Like it's not a
be
kid
like
thing. So
so stupid. That's a whole different subject, though. But continue.
yeah,
Can go off
so
on that.
my God, yeah, yeah. Let me get back on track.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's one of the first ones I realized, and then of course, the World War II Call of Duty with that crazy opening scene with the Russians, and yeah, that one was crazy.
Call of Duty. I have to say, oh god, this is just get turned into this is just a mess right now, but it's fine. The commercials, same thing for that. The commercials for Call of Duty were like amazing because I think Medal of Honor was kind of losing its I guess what's the word? It's just its coolness. Like it was all right at the time, and then when you just see Call of Duty, you go, wow, this looks amazing. Like this is incredible. It's just funny because it's not totally different. And I think if I remember correctly too, that people is basically the same team that made Medal of Honor originals. Um, but yeah, like I just remember like specifically the planes going over towers, bombings and shit. I'm just like, good God, this is amazing.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, because I remember the opening scene for I forget which Medal of Honor, but it's like D-Day, and all
Yes,
the
Frontline.
yes, front line. Like that one was crazy, and that Call of Duty, the first Call of Duty, I think even topped that. Where I was like, oh shit, this is.
That was after Saving Private Ryan, huh? I'm pretty
Y-
sure.
Yes, yes, I want to say it was, and then so I want to say Frontline took their inspiration from Saving Private Ryan,
Definitely.
and then Call of Duty took their inspiration from maybe I think it's called Enemy at the Gates, where it
Mhm.
follows like a Russian soldiers, I believe.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, so that got me into shooting, which of course
Mhm.
the controls were a lot tighter, and, and then but there were so many other games in between that. Like, I know you bought this again, the Area 51
Oh my
game with
god.
Marilyn.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Fucking
Marilyn
Marilyn
Manson.
Manson and David
Yeah,
Duchovny.
and that one was like I remember because like uh, I'm into that. So I'm a conspiracy theorist, and
Yeah,
I'm into
yeah,
this
yeah.
wacky stuff. So like the moon landing thing, like where you could shoot the Earth,
hmm
and then it kind of like falls because it's like a whole set. That was
hmm
crazy. That
That was amazing. And
that
also
was.
to clarify as well, Jerry is into these crazy conspiracies, but he is not, you know, off the ledge. He is still within the realm of this of reality. Like honestly, a lot of the shit he says, I kind of do believe too. He just has more passion for that, but he's not. He's okay. Don't worry. He's fine.
I'm not a whack. Yeah, I'm not a wacko.
Just he's okay. A little crazy, but he's fine. Really need to clear that up.
But yeah, so I mean, so that just really because to be honest, I think that might have been part of what sparked me kind of getting into that because I was like, man, what are they talking about? A set for the moon landing. What is
hmm
this? So I kind of went and looked into that, and it just that might have been like kind of what sparked it. That and like some of my past stuff. I mean, it's just but that game, I think, what really was the start of it, and it was so crazy, like shooting little aliens. And I just remember
Yeah,
like the shooting at the time, it seemed really tight, like the controls. I mean, now
yeah.
it doesn't seem tight at all.
I,
But
I've tried playing that game on the PS2. I can't do it. It's awful.
and then
Like spoiled.
Killzone, you remember Killzone, the first
Oh,
one?
oh yeah, I remember that whole thing too. I forgot what game it was, but yeah, we got the demo for it, and that's how we got into it. Me and Steven.
Yeah, man, that one I actually rebought that. I have that sitting on my game room right now. It's,
That
that
was
and that you remember Black too? That shooter
oh
Black.
my god, yeah, that was insane. Was that the one like they really marketed like you can play with like 50 people or something online? Is that it?
I think no. So this one's like a PS2 game. This is an old PS2 game. That one they went more the route like the environment's like totally destructible. Like you can blow
Mm,
up walls and this and that. Which I mean, by today's standards, it isn't really. But
right.
pretty much, if there was a red barrel somewhere, that part of the wall would explode
Yeah.
essentially. I mean, I mean it was impressive, and it definitely looks impressive for PS2 graphics for sure. You know,
Yeah. On honestly, I think with us, and I think a lot of people agree too, because at this point we'll just be talking a lot about PS2 games. That was probably the very biased, but probably the golden era for gaming, just because all the crazy things you could do, and by I mean do is like I guess it's before games were getting like really high budgeted, so you can kind of just like give you $10,000, do whatever the hell you want. Whereas now it's like we're giving you millions of dollars. Here is this tight, strict, thing criteria you have to meet.
yeah.
Not a lot of risks. Whereas PS2 is like you're fucking army man. You're a green army man.
Yeah, that and I know for you, like you were talking about, was Metal Gear Solid kind of just really started. So, and then I know what was your favorite one? Was the first one your favorite one, or the second one,
That's
third one?
I can do probably a whole 10 episodes on Metal Gear Solid, but that is tough because I love them all. Even the fifth one, even though it's like kind of disappointing me storyline wise, gameplay wise, definitely the best, obviously. Um, it's a toss up between 1 and 4, and a lot of that obviously to do with nostalgia. Whether it's the one I feel wrapped the bow up as well as it could, or the thing that got me into it. Um, I mean, shit. I even 2 and 3, I cannot leave them out of the conversation because they're great in their own completely different ways. But I I'd say the first one still, probably because one, it's the first one. It got me into gaming overall as a whole, and it's just something about it. I remember you specifically. We talked about this. It's like these are like blocks. These are block characters. These are human blocks talking, but I care so much about them. Like
Yes.
I want to know they're going to be okay. I'm invested in these blocks, and I think that's a sign of a great game. When like like what you're looking at is awful as far as like visually, and maybe the gameplay is like kind of rough. It's very rough around the edges, and I grew up with it, so I can still play it fairly easily. But even then, you can like go through all that, overcome all those like obstacles, and just say, I need to keep playing this because I want to know what happens. So, and the music too is amazing. That's something I always loved about the series, and it's just weird. It doesn't take itself seriously, and I appreciate that. Like it takes itself seriously, but not too seriously.
I know, like my first, I guess, introduction to Metal Gear Solid, I had no idea. I just seen the case at a Blockbuster for Metal Gear Solid 2: Sons of Liberty, which, I mean, Blockbuster, geez, it's been out of business for so long.
But also great design. That's a great cover art.
Yes, I mean, because it was like a metal guy, so I'm like looking, I'm like, man, so is this like a metal dude? Is this a robot? Like, what is this? And then it just got crazy. I beat that, so it wasn't until years later when, I mean, when we like met and you kind of got me to go back and play the original Metal Gear Solid. And I actually went through that whole thing, and yeah, you're right. I mean, because it's so weird, especially at that time. Because like I said, even now people think, okay, video games, it's kid stuff. Well, even back then in the '90s, I mean, they were like the rapper and all this stuff, and this had this really super, intense, talking about DARPA and this conspiracy with nano machines and all this and that. And this was PS 1 blocks. They're talking about all this crazy stuff. So that was it's kind of interesting. I mean, like I said, I didn't really play much PS1, so there probably are plenty of games that were like that. Like, Resident Evil, from what I heard, had a pretty crazy storyline.
Like that. It was crazy. And now I said nowadays it's typical, but at the time too, to have such an emphasis on cutscenes, that was definitely not the norm.
Yeah, and you just kind of saw like a blockhead just moving up and down to kind of show that they were saying something.
Yeah, and then another crazy thing too was like actually using real footage. I looking back on it now, it's like, man, that's crazy. Like I don't know how much that would happen now outside of like war games.
Yeah, I mean, as far as games are doing that now, I would say the new the Cold War did that. Okay. But that's kind of expected from something like that.
As I say, war games, you should do that.
Yeah, but yeah. So I mean, so PS2 was actually my first foray into Metal Gear Solid. I didn't play actually some of the later ones, like I remember playing the demo for the third one.
Yes.
And then once I got a PS3, then I got Metal Gear Solid 4. And that was just like, I mean,
Metal Gear Solid 4, the movie.
Yes, like I was telling you earlier about, my mom calling me to go eat lunch, and I was like, okay, well, I'll just leave this cutscene on and see what happens, and coming back, and the cutscene's still going on for like another 20 minutes, and it's even worse because I'm like lost. I have no idea like what happened during the previous 40 minutes or whatever.
I would say, yeah, you miss a couple of minutes, you'll be confused. So a whole like half hour, like, good God, basically miss a season's worth.
Yeah, and then that game was the first time I really got into like collectible hunting, like getting the musket that shoots like tornado bullets or something, like a tornado would come. Yeah. And that one was just so customizable. Like, and the online was crazy too. Did we play that together?
We probably did play it online, but I might have been to like near the tail end of it, so it wasn't like super active. We probably played like a couple days, and that was it.
Yeah, the golden era of that was pretty crazy. I'll say that one online was pretty good. But I mean, I don't know if you want to break more into like PS2, PS3 stuff now, or if you want to kind of, I don't know, man. I'm just.
We're all over the place right now. There is no structure to this. We just kind of. This is fine. It's like time to just. This is kind of, we're talking about like the games that come to our minds immediately, and I think in that sense, that's basically like favorite games, or at least like they help shape like what we like now about games. Like I said, for me, you obviously know too. Like for people listening, yeah, I'm a fucking huge Gear Solid fan. Most of my tattoos involve it. That is just the series I fall in love with. I love the good and the bad. Lord knows there's a good amount of bad in there, but I love it for all of its faults. Just like I said, it just makes me fall in love with gaming. And I guess another one that really kind of rejuvenated my love for gaming overall too was the first Red Dead. Oh, not the first. Well, Red Dead Revolver, but Red Dead Redemption. That one really like got me back into the whole. What am I trying to think of? I mean, just I'm lost. I don't know what I'm talking about.
I mean, I guess more in, like, so in the story. Like, what aspects did you really like about it? Because I really enjoyed the story of
Yeah.
John Marston, and then that coupled with the physics of it. Like, I'm like really into the
Oh, I love
physics,
the
like the
physics.
falling. Yes, like shooting somebody and they're like falling down a hill, tumbling. Like that
So
was crazy.
satisfying.
Yes, it was. Was that like your first real online experience, or like did you
That
have
that
anything before that?
no, yeah, that was probably my first online experience. I think another reason too was that I think that was the first game I saw on the PS3 because I didn't have a PS3 at the time, and I went over to your place and you showed me. That was like the first game you showed me. I think was that Red Dead, and I obviously when I always thought like I'm gonna get this game when I get a PS3. I saw that, and all they did was, oh, 100% hell yeah, I'm getting this game. This is amazing. It looked beautiful. At the time it controlled beautifully and all that. It was just like, and I love the Western aesthetic too. And there's not a lot of them. Even back then, there wasn't a lot of games like that. So seeing that on such a grand display was like, oh hell yeah, I'm all about this. And that was even like you said before, the story. I knew about the story. And looking back on it now, I'd say I'd probably be able to appreciate it a lot more than it was when I was younger.
Yeah, that man. So I remember actually because at the time, I had the PS3, for a little bit, and I had a Grand Theft Auto 4, which was just, I mean, from San Andreas to 4 was just such a huge leap in graphics
Yeah.
and physics and storytelling, and just everything was so just so crazy going from San Andreas to 4. I mean, it was just such a big leap.
Yeah, I couldn't believe that was like the same franchise. It was
Yes,
completely different.
I will say that's when Grand Theft Auto 3 was dark, but then I
Hmm.
feel like Vice City, it kind of lightened up. I mean, of course, it was still bloody and like
Yeah.
did have its dark aspects. And San Andreas too, but San Andreas, you still had, you can go around with the minigun with the
Yeah.
jetpack and do all this crazy shit. And I feel like 4 was when it got like almost kind of grounded more so, maybe not necessarily into reality, but it's like in this kind of, I don't know, it just had a darker story. Like you have this guy coming over from, you know, I guess from somewhere over by the Soviet Union who was like a
Yeah. Was it
soldier.
Romania? I forgot where he was from.
It's somewhere in the Balkans, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and so that was like a whole nother thing. So I remember actually seeing, of course, the trailer for Grand Theft Auto 4, but then seeing the trailer for Red Dead Redemption because I actually had Red Dead Revolver when it came out,
Hmm.
and so I saw it and I was like, man, these are just so. This seems like two different games, right? Because
Yeah.
Revolver's so much. It's just campy. Like you had a guy with a cannon on his back shooting.
Oh my
Like
god, the pig dude.
yeah. So I mean, that was like a totally different vibe than Red Dead Redemption. So I remember seeing that. I was like, I don't think I'm gonna get that. That just
Hmm.
seems like Grand Theft Auto with horses. And then
Hmm.
for whatever reason, I ended up getting it and just being like, wow, I am so wrong. This is so great.
Yeah.
Especially because I mean, Grand Theft Auto 4 seemed like a real open, breathing world, but Red Dead Redemption seemed like that more so because you had the wildlife and
Yeah.
just people going, like you could follow someone from a trail and like see that they're going to wherever. And it
Hmm.
just seemed like everybody was kind of really going about their own thing. Whereas I feel like Grand Theft Auto 4 seemed more canned. Like, okay, just throw a bunch of people in the city and they're just talking on their
Hmm.
phones and,
Yeah.
because I mean, I mean, I guess that's what people really do, now in real life. But
Hmm.
so but it seemed more canned. It didn't seem as alive. Whereas Red Dead Redemption did, to me at least.
No, yeah, for sure. And I think another thing that helped too is just all the side stuff you can do. GTA
Yes.
4 you really didn't have that, but it had some stuff obviously. But Red Dead was like filled to the brim with like you want to collect stuff, you want to like find these crazy ass people to do little fun little missions with.
Of course.
Or even get a little dark too. Like it was great. Like you said, it was just anything you wanted. You wanted to just be like silly and kind of do like the 1950s kind of Western thing, just blow shit up, save the town and stuff. You can do that, but also like the you want to have the Unforgiven kind of style narration. You definitely got that here.
Yeah, you're right. I never really thought about that, but yeah, it does have both that kind of spaghetti western kind of
That's the
feel
word I was
to
looking for.
it,
Yes,
and it also has that like that
post-Western.
like that modern, more gritty, I guess depiction of what maybe the West might be, which is kind of interesting because it's supposed to show the death of the West.
Yeah.
And I guess new inventions and tinkering. Is there anything that you saw in the game that was only allowed during certain parts of the story that maybe you wish was available in the entirety of the game?
Oh, I'm trying to think. I mean, as far as I know, not really. I mean, I guess maybe like the miniguns more were involved because I only say that too specifically because you need like I think you need to have like so many kills for a trophy, but it's like you only play that part like 3 times in the whole story. It's like I'm about to do this like 20 times to get that trophy. So I wish that was there. Uh, Other than that, not really. I feel like it did a pretty good thing overall.
Yeah, that's what stuck out in my mind too, because I know the miniguns and the cannons are kind of available at any time during the online.
Yeah.
But yeah, during the story that would be cool, and then also like maybe a car, like if that could be, because I know like the craziest steed or horse you could have in that game was like that zebra
Oh yeah, yeah,
donkey.
yeah.
And
Mhm.
and that was like a badge of honor, like, oh, I got the zebra donkey. But yeah, I wish like maybe you could have a car too. That, I mean, that would be kind of cool, and like maybe it would have a lot more drawbacks than a horse would, just so
Mhm.
But of course, people would still ride in it because it's like I got a car.
Yeah.
But
No,
yeah,
yeah.
that's a big one.
Yeah. And another thing that makes me think about it too is, obviously, I mean, I still feel this way, but when you first play it and you get through the ending, Ross kills John and all that. You're like, fuck you, man. The man was trying to just live his life, Like he was doing good.
Spoiler alert. Spoiler
I mean, it's been 10 years, over 10 years.
Yeah,
Come on. You're
yeah,
right though. But and looking back on it now, obviously still feel that way. Fuck you, man. But also like, is that what he deserved? Maybe. I mean, just because you're trying to do your best now doesn't mean like that makes up for all your sins. I don't think at the time that was the goal of the game, but just looking back on it now, it does make you think like you get a different perspective. Like, it sucks, no doubt, but maybe in the end that's what had to happen to him.
but I feel like that's one thing that maybe Red Dead Redemption 2 failed to really show is like how bad he really was, right? Because it kind of picked up at the end of this, like,
Yeah,
they just did this robbery, and yeah, he's kind of a stupid, asshole, and he's not a good dad, but he's going to become one, kind of thing. So
yeah.
I think it would have been cool if they would have given maybe more of the negatives, you know.
Yeah.
Um,
And I'm sure too they were probably thought about that. Maybe they don't want to like maybe not to like tarnish what he was in the first one. Maybe they were afraid of that.
yeah.
Because it's like, oh man, we were cheering for this guy, and I was like, you did a lot of crazy shit. Like you know in your mind he did, but I guess to actually like see it, you're like, I don't know now. I don't know if I can root for this guy.
Yeah, man, it's
Like him just being a stupid idiot. It's like way easier to like forgive than killing innocents and robbing like innocent stuff like that. I mean, it kind of does imply through there like they don't really mess with like random folk. It's mostly like banks and shit. Like they try to be Robin Hoods, but still.
yeah. I mean, I don't know, but that game, I mean, just how long we've just talked about it. I mean, it's that's definitely one of my memories. So I remember me and you, we used to play the online together and go like, riding across the old
Oh, so
west
fun,
and
yeah.
trying to find like different secrets, and then also, I mean, the zombie story, which I wish they would redo.
Oh yes, so good.
Yeah, that
Best DLC, best DLC ever.
dude, I mean, and it's so disappointing that they didn't do anything with this one.
I know. You only hope they're remaking it. That's all we can
Yeah,
hope for. On that too though, because I on the PS3 era, because like honestly, when I typed down my notes here, I actually noticed I have more PS3 games than PS2, which was shocking to me, but it also makes sense. Um, One of the huge ones, I know you'll say this, you're gonna bring this up eventually too. Fallout 3. That was not only for obviously how great it was to me, but how much it changed my mind on it. Like I was not into RPGs at all. I thought it was dumb. You showed me it. I was still like, this looks stupid. I'm not into it. But and I thought, well, he likes it a lot. He keeps trying to make me play it, so I'll give it a shot. And then now it's like I fucking love this series so much. This is one of the best games I've ever played.
Yes, and that's crazy to say, even with all the the issues like with
Yes.
operational the stuttering.
God.
At least on console, I assume. I mean, you probably have more experience with this. On PC, it might be a little better.
Mhm.
But yeah, I'm just playing that through console was horrible.
It would freeze every like 5 minutes at best.
Yes, yes, but yeah, that and I mean, and then so that was for me. I never really played that many RPGs. Definitely not any turn-based RPGs because
Mhm.
I didn't know really the history behind. Because I seen Fallout 3 and I was like, Fallout 3, where's Fallout
Yeah,
2 and
yeah,
1?
yeah.
But yeah, so that was it. Kind of got me open to RPGs as well. And then what just totally took me over the edge was, of course, Skyrim.
Oh, okay. Okay, so like we'll kind of go into this. I bring up Fallout 3 specifically because of I'm not sure a lot of people think of this too. The feeling of just wonder when you step out of the vault is something that I still feel to this day. I've forgotten a lot of memories, which is overall of how I felt. That though clearly I remember vividly how I felt. It was one of the best feelings ever. Just like, holy shit, this is amazing.
Yeah, well, yeah, that and just coming across Megaton and this whole another
Hmm.
universe and the way that um, they were able to create stories through the environment
Hmm. Yeah,
is
that's
just
as much crap as that game gets, and rightfully so. I think an underrated part of it is, like you said there, the little stories you get from just looking around, and not even from like text or nothing, just looking at environments and seeing like bodies or blood and stuff like that, and you just kind of can put it together like, oh wow, this happened.
yeah. That I mean, I mean, you're right with that sense of wonderment because it's a whole another kind. I've never really had an experience with this Fallout universe, so
Hmm.
that was my first introduction to anything like stim packs and
Hmm.
all these different like little perk system and the VAT system and all that. Like I thought that
Yeah,
was so crazy. The VAT system
yeah.
had slow mo and
Hmm.
people exploding. That what was it? The blood and guts perk was like the
Yeah.
first.
Oh
Yeah,
god. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
That really got me into RPGs, and I know it's definitely not the first post-apocalyptic game, obviously, but I think I want to say after that's when the surge of like all those kind of games came out.
As far as like
Like
post apocalyptic.
I think so. Like I said, not the first, but I think it really got it into like the mainstream. I feel because then after that, that's when a bunch of kind of similar styled games came out like that. Not necessarily RPGs, but that genre.
So like, what are the ones are you talking about? Like Metro? Because I know Metro was kind of like a. I know it's based on like what stories on books, but
I
it
think it's
was like a
books.
Russian kind of take of it.
Hmm. Yeah, I think so. But
Is that because Fallout's really the main post-apocalyptic kind of game like
I
that
mean,
that I can really think.
I guess now, it's just a different form. I mean, it's almost a joke now. Like Horizon, I
Yeah,
think
yeah,
Rage.
yeah. Rage for sure. I see
Um,
that.
I said it led to a surge of it. I can only name a couple. I won't say Mad Max. That doesn't count because that's based on an already IP.
Yeah, yeah. But Mad Max definitely was that like desert. You're
Hmm.
by yourself kind of feel for sure.
Borderlands.
Borderlands, yeah, but Borderlands was kind of. I guess it's different because it's like an
It is
intergalactic
different.
kind of
It is
thing.
different. It's a whole different thing. Yeah. Um,
But I
and then
mean,
going
definitely
to
Rage.
yeah, and then but then going back to what you said too. mentioned it. So once that happened, when you started talking about Skyrim, and I saw like, okay, it's the same, same team, same company, and all that. I'm not really into that kind of thing as far as like wizards and stuff. I mean, I like Lord of the Rings, but to play it, I don't know. And I remember here, I specifically, I remember Jerry sounding like such a nerd when he described names to me, and I had no idea what he was talking about.
I remember you giving me shit for that.
You something about like the mouth of the world or something, and like Dovahkiin. I'm like, what are you even talking about right now? Like you were just missing, like to me, you're just missing your glasses with like tape on. I'm like, this is bizarre. And then as you
Yeah,
play it,
I
I'm like,
remember.
I get it, I understand now.
Yeah, that was so. And I mean, I remember getting the trophy for finding every single location, and that was another one that it would tell stories. I think
Mhm,
Fallout maybe did a better job of doing it without you having to pick up something and read it, like just
mhm.
strictly through the environment. But that one, I remember finding like a freaking cave like on the very far, I think it was like on the northeast side of the map, and it was like a cave where there's a necromancer going around
Oh
killing them.
yes,
Yeah, I was like, oh my god, this guy's
that was
sick.
insane.
Yeah, and then the first time I went to a cave and there's just like this fucking like mushroom, like just these bioluminescent mushrooms just sprouting up like huge trees. I was like, oh my, like what the hell is it? Like,
Oh man, I remember going to like the Dwarven ruins for the first time. Jeez,
yes, yes.
that
I mean
was
that whole thing.
terrifying.
Because I mean, like Fallout kind of had. I mean, it's not. It's pretty far off from our world now, but
Yeah.
basically, if you don't know anything about the series, basically the difference is instead of discovering capacitors, we went the atomic route to power things.
Hmm.
So that kind of split off our technology from today versus Fallout. So at least you have some kind, like what a gun is, what a car is, what all
Yeah.
these basic things are. It just had a 1950s retro kind of coat of paint on them, whereas Skyrim was just a totally like before this I'd never played wizard sword stuff before,
Same. Same.
so it was just that was like a whole new kind of thing for me, for sure, for
Oh
sure.
yeah, yeah, definitely. Now it's like I'm all about that, man. Let's do this. I'm out. You make another one? I'm all for it. And again, it's one of those strange things where like I see the faults in it, especially looking back on it. Like the dungeons are basically the pretty much the same designs, the same layouts. It's very repetitive. It is, but it's just it gives you all the serotonin. It's just very satisfying.
It's yeah, dude. It's just I mean it's a badass game, man. It's like
Like even though I think The Witcher 3 is the better game by far, I think I enjoy Skyrim more, hands down.
really.
It's one of, it's like for me, kind of compared to like, okay, I think Metal Gear Solid 3 is the best game overall in the series, but it's not my favorite. And I would compare that to how I feel about like that kind of like genre of gaming, like medieval fantasy kind of deal. Witcher 3 I think is by far the better game, but it's just something about Skyrim, and I think a lot of it probably has to do with the music.
Yeah, I could see that first time like you just get that theme song, the note, and then
Dark, the king,
yeah,
and just going around, just hearing that, it's like very calming music when you're just walking around. Um, like I still remember, I can't describe it now, but like, I know like it's just like going into like Whiterun for the first time is it was magical. It's just same thing with like Fallout 3. Like there's just something about it. It's got a charm to it, and that's why like those games still have like a special place in my heart, even though like technically they're not the best.
yeah. I would have definitely agree with all that. I mean, I did spend a bulk of my time either playing Fallout 3 or Skyrim. I did play New Vegas quite a bit, but I never actually beat it. For some reason, I know you love New
New Vegas is
Vegas, I
great.
think,
Yes.
more
Hmm.
than Fallout 3. But for me, I just
Yeah,
Fallout
like
3 something I really loved about it.
No, I get it. It's a whole different vibe. Not a whole different vibe, but yeah, as far as like atmosphere and stuff, I appreciate Fallout 3 more. But this is where it comes to like on a technical level and stories and stuff. New Vegas is more of that RPG. You know, like the branching storylines. You can do a lot more wacky things.
Yeah. I know they have that wanderer kind of.
Oh yeah, it's
Arc.
fantastic.
Yeah.
The Lone Wanderer is fantastic.
I also
Uh,
love the aliens, and I like I said, I haven't beaten New Vegas, but I also haven't really played the DLCs. Whereas Fallout 3, I played all the DLCs, and I
yeah.
loved like Mothership Zeta.
Oh yeah, great.
There's one more, maybe the Brotherhood of Steel one, where it kind of expanded your level to 30, like you go to
Yeah, like
30.
basically fix the ending.
Yeah, and that one was badass. Like I just remember all of that.
What was it? What was it? There was Anchorage, and I can't think of it. What was it called? When you went to like uh,
The
went to the
Citadel.
Citadel, the country one. We went to like
Oh,
Louisiana or
not the
something.
pit. Yeah, not
The
the
pit's good
pit,
too.
but yeah, the pit is good.
How was it?
I know which one you're talking about, but it's like you're in some swampland almost, right?
Yeah, I cannot for the life of me remember it.
I can't remember that either. But yes, I know exactly which, and they like take a piece of your brain or something.
Yeah. Where is it? I'm gonna look it up now.
Yeah, that one was cool. But
I'm gonna see it. I'm gonna be upset for not remembering it.
so if anybody's still listening at this point, as you can tell, we really
All over the
love.
place.
Yeah, we're all over the place, but we there's
Point
certain
Lookout.
games. Point Lookout, yes, there it is. But there's certain games that we just really
Yeah.
our childhood revolved around that we just
Yeah. And
really.
again, it's a mess right now. Sorry for that, but figuring this out also too, like this is definitely why people focus on at least a genre or a series because it's just easy to get sidetracked. There's just so many games.
Yes, for sure.
I mean, shit, we can just do we can do probably like a whole 10 hours on just another one I wanted to mention real quick. Not real quick. We're talking about this a lot too. Like The Last of Us. That's like
I
another
wanted to
game
get
too.
into that. I was gonna get into that. Yes, that's the last of
I had
us.
no idea about it. You were the one. I know you were more familiar with like the development and like the origin and stuff. Like you were pretty much keeping tabs on it. I feel like the whole time, huh?
Yes, I actually remember the first. I don't know if it was E3 or Sony trade show or whatever,
I think
but
it was E3.
I remember the first trailer and the Ellie looked like Ellen Page. It looked like a little.
Yes, I do remember that.
I think people complained about it, or maybe she caught wind of it, and so they had to kind of like
hmm
change her look. Which to me, she still looked.
Very, very much Ellen Page like, but yeah, they tried to make her look more like her the voice actress.
Yes.
I think that's the game too that got Troy Baker on the map. He was obviously had a ton of work, but that now everyone knows him because of that. I feel.
Yeah, but see, that's the thing. Yeah, I think you're right. 'Cause I think he was in a bunch of games before
Oh
that, but
yeah, he
now
was in a bunch.
I
Now
had
he's like
no
a household
idea.
name though, like
I had
Nolan
no
North.
idea. Yeah, I
Like he
had
was doing
no
a
idea.
bunch of work, but he did Nathan Drake, and like, oh yeah, that's Nolan North.
Yes, yeah, Nolan North, like he was in a Spec Ops: The Line, and for a while I didn't have
Everything.
an idea. Yes, The Last of Us. Yeah, that was just a whole the story. I guess the story.
It's one of those two where it kind of goes into the if you just describe it to someone, then they'll go like, why do people like that? That sounds very generic, like guy has to take the possible cure for humanity across the country, and things happen. Like yeah, that sounds very like plain, but they're able to do it. They're able to put their own I won't say their own spin on it. They're able to make it unique. Very basic premise, but it's a completely different experience, I feel.
Yeah, so I beat it multiple times on PS3, and then I then went and got it on PS4 and beat it again multiple times. I actually
You platinum
platinumed
it.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Um, that was so
it,
tough.
it was. I can imagine. I mean, I did it on hard, and it was hard. So I can only imagine on grounded. Well, you didn't
Well,
have to do it on grounded, huh?
no, I'm actually still in the middle of trying to beat it on grounded. It's so because I don't think you have the
Listening.
yeah, you don't have listening mode, so it's a little bit tougher to kind of.
that's one of the games where like if someone hasn't seen it, I will go out of my way to show them it.
Yeah.
I've been it a lot of times, and a lot of those times were me showing someone else it because I wanted them to experience it.
Yeah, yeah. That game's really I've showed to different people, and a lot of people really enjoy it. So, especially some that aren't really into video games per se.
I mean, it probably reminds me of something like The Walking Dead or something. It's a movie that you can
Right.
play. Yeah. Um, like I know that was the first game I showed Alyssa, my girlfriend. That was the first game she agreed to watch me play, and yeah, obviously, spoiler alert in the beginning, when Joel's daughter dies, like she just went like, "I'm done. I don't want to do this anymore." And it just picks up from there. Uh, yeah, no, I've probably showed 5 or 6 different people it. 5 or 6 people that game. And each time I want to start over again is just so they can see like the whole thing. And it's one of the only games too to make me feel like I know this was a different feeling for you. That's what I like about this game too. That was one of the very few times where I played the ending. I'm like, I don't want to do this. I feel bad
Yeah,
for doing.
yeah. I just felt really, I felt really gung ho about it. I was like, fuck.
That's so interesting, and I understand completely. Don't get me wrong, but I think that's one of the things I love about the game too, as I can understand why he's doing it, and I totally get it, and I respect it really. But also, I don't want to do that. No.
See, but it's also I feel like the ending, like where she said, we were like waiting to die and this
Mhm.
and that, like she really wanted to die. That kind of made me kind of feel bad about it, and
Mhm.
then him, blatantly lying to her, and then the
Yeah.
DLC definitely put it more in
Oh yeah.
context for me.
Mhm.
So yeah, that was like, oh shit, maybe I shouldn't have. I don't know. It's like you kind of have this like cognitive dissonance. You're like, I want to, but maybe it wasn't the right thing, or maybe it is. I
Mhm.
don't know. But
But
yeah,
again, that's kind of the point of it too. I feel it's not clear cut.
man. So what actually bothered me the most about that game was the interview with Troy Baker when he's talking about him going
Oh.
through the beginning scene where
Yes.
your daughter dies, and he said, he was really belting it out and giving it as much emotion as possible, and then
Mhm.
finally Neil Druckmann comes by and he's like, just gives him these like really robotic, I guess, instructions from what it sounded like, and
Mhm.
then he did it that way, and that was the take they went with, and it did sound so emotional, and it's like just to find out that was like, something.
Kind of peel back the curtain and ruin the illusion.
Yeah, it was like, because I'm sitting there thinking, oh man, this guy's a mess on the floor, blubbering for like
Yeah.
he used some deep dark memory uh
Mhm.
to get that kind of emotion, and then just to find out it's just, you know, I mean, acting.
Yeah. Well,
was
I mean, hey,
crazy.
that's good directing right there.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, just
Yeah.
they are masters of their craft, I think.
Yeah, like, and even with again, this is a whole different situation. Um, this is another week's worth. With regards to the second one, um, the issues I had with it and things like that, it's not, I should clarify, it is not a bad game. I am not on that train of it's shit. It is not a shit game. It's good. I would dare say good. It was just disappointing to me. But even then, like it did a lot of things I still enjoyed. Um, and looking back on it now, I can definitely appreciate some more things. I still wouldn't say I liked it a lot, but even then, I mean, that's like their worst outing. I mean, that's still pretty good.
Yeah, I mean,
Like I
I'm
said,
still
that's a
in
whole
your
different
camp.
thing. We won't go too much into that because that's a whole thing.
I mean,
But
it really is. As far as that one goes, I'm actually replaying it now, as you know.
hmm,
Um, and I guess now that I kind of already, I mean, everybody kind of already knew what was going to happen in it.
yeah,
But now I guess all the outrage has died
yeah,
down, and I kind of already played it and kind of already know what to
hmm,
expect. Kind of
yeah,
replaying it, I've actually found myself enjoying it more,
hmm,
just from a purely gameplay perspective. I mean, the story's really, I don't know. I mean, the story is definitely to me not as good as the
hmm,
first one, and I will say some of my favorite parts of the game from a story aspect are the cutscenes where you are going back in time to be with Joel.
And like I know you say this too, and I would agree with you entirely. I don't want to make it sound like, and I know you probably agree with me too. I don't want to make it sound like, oh, I just wanted Joel and Ellie again. I mean, that's true, but that's not why I dislike the game. It's more like the process, that story they tell there is like what I kind of expected from the second game, instead of it being like a side story.
I feel like the structure of the story really killed the pacing. Like,
that's another issue that I say. That's not really the story itself, or like, but like I will die on this hill. I did not like how it just cut to Abby's part. I will die on the hill. I did not like it at all.
I didn't like it either because all that emotion you build up from Ellie's playthrough.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Maybe this is what they're trying to do is give you enough time to kind of step back and out of that moment, because that at the end you have all these emotions. You're like, fuck this chick. Let's
yeah,
we're gonna get her, blah blah. And then you play through all her story mode, and it's like, it just killed all that momentum.
I was gonna say, yeah, the problem with that too is like, and always in the back of my mind, even through like the really good parts, and there are a lot of good parts in her part. I mean, her campaign is way better than Ellie's, I believe too. But the problem was in the back of my mind, I go, okay, let's just get to that part again. Like I just wanted to kind of rush through it to get back to that.
Yeah, and finish the story off and see.
Yeah, like that was, and maybe like I said, I know for some people they really liked it, and like how that worked. But for me, it was kind of like, if probably not the exact same, but for me, I felt like it's if, and like Star Wars, when Vader tells Luke like, I am your father, and then immediately right after he says that, it goes to the prequels. And then after prequels, that's when you get into the aftermath of what happened. Like that's what it felt like to me. It's like, why would you do that? Like, why would you structure it like that? Like, go back to that. I want to know what happens.
Yeah, I will say that, but I would say some of the good things that the story did is, so like that moment in Abby's section where there's like a sniper shooting and killing people.
Oh yeah,
and
yeah.
You're like actively trying to get this guy. You're like, man, fuck this guy, and you're like, shooting. You're actively taking, shots. I mean, if you didn't know what was going on, you're actively taking shots to kill this guy, and I mean, you have to progress that part of the story.
Right.
But and then he kills your buddy or whatever, and then at the end of that, of that portion, you just to find out it's Tommy.
Yeah.
You're like, oh,
no, I like this guy.
oh man,
yeah, what it was trying to do, I feel like through the whole game, it succeeded in fucking spades in that section. Like if it was able to do that through the whole game, then it would obviously be a whole different conversation. Oh god damn it again.
not yet.
There it is.
Okay. Wait, is it saying? Okay, here it is. Now we're recording again. Sorry about that technical difficulty, guys. I don't know if my editing is going to be able to bring that that ending of this clip at the beginning of this one, but we'll see. I'll have to.
It's a whole mess. We'll figure it out.
Yes. So where were we at? We were in the middle of talking about The Last of Us 2. We just kind of finished up on that, I believe.
Yeah, I think that was good. Like I said, they can obviously be expanded upon, but for right now, that's people can see how we feel about it. Hopefully they realize too, it's not just hatred, it's just certain issues, but now I kind of want to play it again just to see if any opinions I have changed.
Yeah, like I said, I'm replaying it, and I'm actually enjoying it more than I did because there's not that urgency to really see what's
going on with the story. Now you know what happens.
Yeah, because there was like really I didn't sit and take the time to look at the environments. So I just want to get to the next part of the story.
Mm-hmm.
And now I'm really like trying to find those secrets and add-ons and.
Yeah, I get you. Beautiful looking game. Can't say anything about that.
Oh my god,
beautiful, gorgeous.
Yes, it is. So I guess now I can say we're in the PS4 era.
Yeah, I would say then that's the case. Not a lot. I mean, I played some games I liked there a lot, but the only one that I can think of that I really loved would be God of War.
Yeah, I will say the PS4 era was kind of a failure in kind of original IPs. It seems like I remember, especially in the beginning of that era, it was like mostly remakes.
Oh yeah, it took like a long time for any like kind of new game to come out.
Yeah, and even then it was like nothing was really too hot, right? Like,
Mm-mm. The biggest
of
thing was
course,
like the Last of Us remake. That's it.
yeah, and then there was a lot of sequels, but I don't feel like there was really any new IPs except for the one I can really think of is Zero Dawn Horizon.
Horizon, yeah.
Yes, and so I haven't even played that one yet, but that's the one that really sticks out in my mind that looked cool. I saw you playing it. I just really,
Yeah, it's really cool. I enjoy it. I think you'd like it too.
oh yeah, I'm pretty sure I would. I don't know, man. I just don't want to get into that kind of
I
thing right now.
understand. It's a
Just
lot.
so much. Yeah, it really is.
Mhm.
But yeah, that's really the only thing I can think of, man. That and you know,
Surely we're missing something.
of course. Well, I will say one thing I have neglected to talk about, which actually started in the PS3 era and continued to this one, is my love for story games, like really like kind of the Heavy Rain and well, the
Yeah.
one that actually had Ellen Page in it. Shoot, man, I
Beyond Two
forgot.
Souls?
Yes, Beyond Two Souls. Man, and then they made Detroit Become Human. I mean, those are like I want to say it made one more, but I'm not 100%. But I really love those. And then after that was, of course, the Telltale games of all
Yeah.
the different series. That those
You were
Telltale
super
games are great.
stoked for the Wolf Among Us announcement. I remember that.
Yes, The Wolf Among Us was I played it pretty late, and it's like I didn't play it when it came out. That one was freaking great. I loved it. That and the Walking Dead, of course. I really enjoyed it. I enjoyed how they ended it. I think what I remember, it was just. I mean, that the Telltale's really good. Even like for series, I don't really give a shit about Borderlands from a story perspective.
Yeah.
And they did a really great job in bringing me into that universe. In fact, I mean, the reason why I played it was because of another podcast I was listening to at the time, with it's kind of funny games. They were
Yeah, yeah.
talking about it because Greg, the host of that game, was like all psyched about that, and Life is Strange and all that. So whenever he talked about
Mhm.
something with that kind of gusto, I kind of gave it a play to see if I'd like it. And usually I
Right.
did. There was a couple games that were kind of missed, like that I think it's called Going Home or something
Gone
like
Home?
where you gone home. Yeah, I just that it didn't really click for me, I guess.
Yeah.
But life like the way they talk about Life is Strange, that's really clicked. I'm actually playing I guess the was it the third one? The third one now,
Hmm.
which I enjoyed a lot more. I'm enjoying a lot more than the second one. Um, I really won't know what I like where it ranks up until I beat it for sure. But
Right.
it's so far it's freaking it's a really good game.
Yeah.
Um, and I
Well,
noticed too. I don't know about you, but
mhm.
when I got older, I stopped really playing online games as much. Like I
Yeah, I don't care for much of online games anymore.
just became kind of stressful. Like you're arguing with people or whatever. You just got to put it on mute. So that kind of like
I will
defeats
say,
the
well,
whole
yeah, what's the
purpose.
point?
But still, I'll
um,
play them. But I just mute it. I don't.
yeah, like now it'd probably be only co-op. Like if you weren't playing the game, I wouldn't be playing it.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, and then as far as IPs go, PS4, the only ones I was able to find that are like new besides Horizon, Ghost of Tsushima and Days Gone.
Okay, Days Gone. Have you played that?
Nah, I don't know. It doesn't seem like my kind of thing.
Believe it or not, it is pretty good.
Okay,
It's I think you'd enjoy it. I think if
okay.
you I think you might be seeing it kind of like the way I see Horizon Zero Dawn.
Maybe.
Yeah, I mean it's good. It's just there's so much stuff going on right now.
Yeah, and then
Um,
Ghost of Tsushima though that was actually that was a great game.
yes, Ghost of Tsushima was freaking great. I loved it. Had so
Beautiful
much.
environment,
Yes, but yeah,
fucking gorgeous.
it is so
Not like yeah,
stylized.
let's say not beautiful in this in the same as like Last of Us where it's like oh my god like this is fucking real. Ghost of Tsushima is very much like you said stylized. It's just gorgeous. Like riding through a horse on like the field and like those fields is just amazing.
This one was too.
Okay, saying it is.
Yeah. Most. Okay.
All right. Well, how fitting then. Apologies again. Just If you made it this far, God bless you.
I know we didn't get to exactly everything we wanted
No,
to get through, but I think we covered some
it,
ground.
I mean, this is a wild intro, not only for like if anyone has any interest keeping up with us, but also it's an intro for you, but also for us. You kind of, you know, what our tastes are, what the things we like, the how we talk and present things. Which, if this goes on, will definitely get tighter and a lot more structured. Don't worry about that. But I think to just get the jitters out and just, like I said, we're going into the deep end head first. Definitely no dipping the toes in.
Yes. So I guess our next episode we might continue this, or I mean,
Continue this, maybe we try to get a little more focused, see if we can actually have a basic premise, whether it's something kind of easy like a top 10,
focus on
a
like a
specific game or
console.
franchise, a console even, yeah, like something clear cut, or it's like, okay, here it is, where we can still like kind of go off the rails a bit, go off our tangents, but it's still like, okay, it's within this realm. It could be in an organized chaos instead of just this chaos.
Yeah. So we really appreciate you guys taking your taking time to listen to our podcast, and start not only our first episode but our first podcast ever. So we're still very very new at this for sure.
Fishies, just fishies, man.
Yeah. So
We're figuring this out. We're gonna figure this out. Gonna get better. It'll get more structured, like I said. Hopefully, but at the very least, we hope you like the energy we have. We're not trying to, even if we talk about, like I said, like something with like The Last of Us 2, where we have issues with it. It's not just gonna come from a place of just pure toxicity or hatred. We're gonna give it a fair shot, mention things we like. But I mean, if we just don't like something, then we'll say it. But again, not gonna be negative. If you like The Last of Us 2, honestly, I envy you. That's how it is. Not that I'm looking down, nothing like that, obviously. But hey, we all got our days. Maybe you fucking hate Metal Gear Solid. You know what? That's your right, man. I get it.
yeah, for sure. And like you said, hopefully this gets a little bit more tighter as we kind of
It
have an
definitely will.
idea.
It's gonna
And now
have
it's
to.
yeah, and now it's gonna be off to trying to edit this monstrosity together.
Well, yeah. I mean, luckily it's not too crazy. I'll learn to. I know it's not your recording, but honestly, what I should do too is I should start recording as well, just in case, as a backup.
I think it might be if you go into our chat log kind of thing. I think it.
Oh, you're right. It is there.
So I'm gonna go ahead. I'm gonna download it and yeah. So I'll
Figured.
just go ahead and end the recording. Thank you guys for first episode. Hope you all
Yes.
enjoyed it.
I would say if you made it this far, then thank you.